experience with child. Oh my goodness. He knows he hasn't been with her. He says, I'll put her away. I'll do it quietly. He was a man of great honor. I'll do it quietly. But then the angel comes to him in a dream, and he says, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife. And then he goes on to say, she will give birth to a son, and you, Joseph, are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. See, this baby had a purpose. To save us. You know, sin is an interesting thing. It's like a fatal flaw that we have written into our mortal code. It is the thing that will bring about in our life great pain. It will ultimately lead to death. You know, I have some experience with doctors, and they do interesting things these days. They can take your blood, and they can go back and do a DNA test, and they can tell you what fatal flaws are within your blood that one day could lead to great pain and could lead to death. You see, that's in my physical body, but in my spirit, there's a thing called sin. It's woven into my being. But a baby was born to change all of that. That's the great news of Christmas. That was the great news of the gift of myrrh. You know, I always had trouble with this, baby's born, he takes my place, I don't quite like that. My brain, I like to wrap my brain around things, and my brain had a really hard time with that. Until I heard the story of these people. I have the picture of there we go, of these people. I've heard their story. Now, you may look at these two and think that this is a mother with their child, but it's not actually. This is actually two sisters. The older one is named Anissa. The younger one is named Marissa. Now, Anissa was about 16 years of age when they found out that she had a terrible disease called leukemia. She was going to die. So they brought in her family. She had a brother, she had a mother and father. They tested everybody, and they found that there was no match for Anissa in the family. She had a death sentence. The parents talked to the doctors, and they said, what if we had another child? And the doctor said, it's a 25% chance that you could give birth to another child who would be a match to your daughter. Those of you who are parents say, 25% is better than nothing. And so Anissa's parents decided to give birth to another child, Marissa. As a matter of fact, it was such a big issue back in the 80s that they appeared on the cover of Time magazine. The thought was, is it right for a child to be born, in essence, to save another child? Interestingly enough, Marissa was the 25% match. So when she's about 18 months old, the doctors take the bone marrow out of Marissa and place it into Anissa. And today, both of them are healthy and happy. Anissa is married. Marissa is a graduate from college in psychology. And suddenly, when I heard this story, Christmas made a little more sense to me. For you see, I'm Anissa. There is something within me that will cause pain and eventually will cause death. And I have no hope of beating it. But there is a baby. You see, my fatal flaw is much worse than cancer. Cancer, you die here on this earth, but with sin, it's death for eternity. said, you should know this about him. He will be the antidote for your pain and for your death. 2,000 years ago, our Father decided to birth a baby. Interestingly, this baby would have everything that I have. He would be as human as I am. There would be just one thing missing, and that's the sin. And because of him, because of his life,